Hey, so this video right here is about the worst places to live in Windsor, Ontario. These are areas of the city you don't want to raise a family in, typically. Okay? Actually, there's one near the end that's really not that bad, but I've included it on this list because it previously was even more run down than it is, but it's actually come a long way. But for the most part, these houses, these areas are very rough. Okay, we're going to talk about an area on the way where I saw a meth head yelling at the sky all these obscenities at noon on a Wednesday. Okay, it wasn't the weekend, wasn't at night, middle of the day. That's what he's doing, all right? We're also going to talk about an area of the city that you have to be careful about because other real estate agents and even the newspaper sometimes will call it up and coming. This up-and-coming area, but it will never actually be that. It's propaganda. It's actually a place with a lot of prostitutes and a lot of crime, and you need to stay away from it. The city is trying to make it seem trendy, and now they're calling it up-and-coming, but it's not. Stay away from that area and be weary of people that tell you it's a good place to buy a house or a good place to invest. It's not. We're also going to talk about the area of the city with the most crime, the most violent crime, okay? That is all on the way. First, though, my name is Ryan. I'm a real estate agent and real estate appraiser here in Windsor. I know everything there is to know about buying and selling houses and how much they're worth and all that stuff here in Windsor. If you are looking to buy a house in Windsor and move to this area, feel free to reach out, even if you just have questions that you need answered. I help people all the time from YouTube. That's my number. It's on the screen. It's also in the description below. Let's go with the first area that sucks. Okay, so first on the list is Sandwich Town. Sandwich Town is right here on the map. It's just west of the bridge that leads you to Detroit. Now, this area is the highest crime area in Windsor. There is the most violent crime that happens in this area. Like, you can just do a quick Google right now, Sandwich Town crime, and you're going to find all these articles like this one about homicides and murders and stabbings all in this area. And it's sad. It really is, because this is so historic. This is the oldest place in this region. It was founded in 1797. So the War of 1812 between America and British Canada broke out right there on the banks of the Detroit River at Sandwich Town. You know, it was also the Underground Railroad that brought the slaves up. There were important pieces of that in Sandwich Town as well. So it's really sad to see it go the way it's gone. And I don't really know why it went this way. You know, University of Windsor isn't far. It's right there, and that kind of is part of the reason some of it's run down, just because, you know, people rent it out to students and they don't care what happens to the house in the neighborhood. But that can't be attributed to all of the problems, you know. For whatever reason, the gangs and the drugs and the crime, they need a place to go, and they've chosen Sandwich Town as that place. It's really too bad. Now, hold on a minute, because there is one spot in West Windsor, Sandwich Town area, that's actually pretty good. It's a good place to live. So you see this road right here? This is Prince Road, and that's really the dividing line, because below that, it actually turns into a nice little low-cost subdivision. So roads like this one, Sun Valley Drive or Parkhurst, Hillcrest, all around there, I don't know if there's an invisible wall or what, but the crime doesn't necessarily cross down into this area all that much. They're actually nice streets. If I blindfolded you and dropped you off on Sun Valley Drive, you would think you were in South Windsor. Like, it's a nice street, and it backs onto Micmac Park. That's a nice little area. And I know people are uncomfortable sometimes because it's too close to where the ghetto is, but for some reason, the rough stuff just doesn't push down into this area that I've noticed anyway. As a result, though, the prices do reflect that. Houses down here on Sun Valley Drive, they've gotten to be a lot more than they are up on Peter Street over the last little while, for good reason. By the way, I've got another video on this channel that talks about the best places to live in Windsor. I would go check that out if you want to contrast it. Also, on the way, I'm going to talk about a place in this town that other agents will tell you is up and coming, and it's a good area. It's becoming a great... It's not. They're lying to you. It is the ghetto. It is terrible. That's on the way, okay? First, though, let's talk about downtown. let's be honest, in most cities, downtown isn't a place you want to raise kids, but downtowns can be trendy. I mean, if a city does it right, it can be clean. There can be a lot of good arts and little markets in the area, and there can be really nice condos that offer a really nice way to live. Like, obviously, Toronto, a big city like that, has it, but even other cities can have a clean, nice, fun downtown. Windsor, not one of them. I wouldn't say so. It's a little bit rough. First of all, the city has not put much money into downtown as far as I'm concerned. Like most cities, like London, they'll have the John Labatt Center, the big hockey arena, right downtown. Windsor, we didn't do that. We put it way out in the suburbs. Okay, like that. If you put that downtown, then it fuels money into the area. Businesses are in the area. People kind of clean it up a bit. They didn't do that in Windsor. It's out in the suburbs. There's not much going on downtown. There's a few good bars and restaurants, but there's not a ton. And I mean, a lot of it's just like office buildings and stuff like that. Like, I know the call center is downtown. I personally don't think there's a lot going on down there. Now, I will be honest, the one place the city did sink a lot of money is into the boardwalk down by the river. I think that looks really nice, and if you live downtown, you're not far from this right here, which is a really nice amenity to have close. But still, it's not like downtown there's good churches or good schools or any of that stuff. You got to drive out of downtown to get to it. So as far as like where you would live downtown, there are homes all in this area, and this is kind of what I'm telling you to avoid, all down Pallisher and stuff like that. It's just too close to the downtown. It's too close to the riffraff. It's too close to all the traffic. It's too close to everything. They're not large homes. They're not valued very well, and again, it's not safe. Like, it's the kind of place where if you leave your bike in the driveway, I would be worried someone's going to take the bike. Whereas, don't tell anyone this, but I literally forget to lock my doors sometimes in my neighborhood. No one's taking anything, I'm telling you, okay? As far as condos go, okay, and this is where it gets, like, the thing about a condo is you're 20 stories up above the riffraff. So, like, there's this building right here at Pallisher, and you get shots inside like this. Like, they can be really nice. They're overlooking the water. You can go up on the roof, and you can watch the big fireworks. We have, like world-class fireworks every year, late July, and you can watch that from the rooftop. Like, it's really cool building, and there's a couple like that. There's one right here. There's one right here. There's one right here. They're really nice places to live. However, when you leave your condo and you go down into the street, don't be surprised if you see a guy screaming at nothing because he's on drugs. You're going to see homeless. You're right in the thick of it right there. So, I'm not a fan of downtown living, and that's one place I would say to avoid, and it's certainly not a place you want to raise kids. All right, Ford City. That's what we're talking about now, and this is the one I told you about, okay? Be careful. Other people will tell you it's up and coming. It's not. It's garbage, all right? So, Ford City has been there a long time. They used to make Fords in the area. One of the first, like, automotive plants in the area was right here. Today, it's garbage. And the city has this community improvement plan they've put into place to try and clean up Ford City. Now, aesthetically, it's done some good work. Like, they've poured money into putting big murals in the area and statues commemorating the history of the area. They've cleaned up the streets, like literally in terms of getting junk out of the streets and making sure everything's clean. However, the meth heads still live in the area. And as long as you have meth heads in the area, you can do whatever you want. You can put all the money you want into this area. But until you get rid of the meth, it's still going to be a shitty place to live. It's insane to me that there are agents out there, real estate agents, that'll tell you it's an up-and-coming place to live, that it's on the rebound. No, it's not. It's not on the rebound. It's not on the rebound. It is the ghetto, okay? Drive through there any day of the week, you're going to see some crazy shit. This is where I told you earlier, I saw the guy high on meth screaming at the sky, just swearing at clouds. It was noon on a Wednesday, all right? This guy had nothing better to do than to get high and yell at clouds. that's the kind of people that live in the area. And also, when you drive around, I mean, just look at this video here. Like, you get some nice buildings that have been restored, and then you get some crappy buildings that have not been restored that are right in the area. And less honest people might tell you, oh, they will be. It's up and coming. They're going to change all that. They're not, man. They're not. It's just not going to get there. It's not a great area to live. It's funny to see the propaganda. Even in, like, the newspaper, they'll post articles about this up-and-coming area, and then you drive through it, and it's been 5 years, and you're like, it's not up-and-coming. It's like, how many years do you need before you just call it a bust? You know what I mean? I remember one time I was driving through this area, and I pull up to the stop sign, right? And I look, and there's, like, this woman on the street, and she makes eye contact with me, and then she waves. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I wave back. I'm like, who is that? Do I know that person? I don't think I know that person. And I start to drive away, and then I see her in my rearview mirror turn to another car and wave, and I go, oh, that's a prostitute. I'd never seen a prostitute before in my life until that moment. And I guess I was expecting prostitutes to look like they do in the movies, you know, like Julia Roberts or whatever dresses in that movie. Like, no, it's winter in Canada, so they're wearing a parka, but... But if they're standing on the corner waving at every car that drives by and making eye contact with the male drivers, that's a prostitute. So drugs, prostitutes, that's what's in the area of Ford City. Don't raise your kids there. Again, guys, my name is Ryan. I'm a real estate agent in Windsor. I help people from YouTube and all over buy a house in Windsor, sell their house in the Windsor area. If you are looking to move to the Windsor area, you need some questions answered from somebody who's honest. Call me, text me, whatever. My number's on the screen, and it's also down below. Okay, up next, we have the Villages of Riverside, and this is an interesting one because, like, this whole area right here is Riverside, which is a very nice, safe area. This right here, this is what is called the Villages, or also known as Little River Acres. They built these winding little streets, and the houses in here are nothing like the houses everywhere else. The lot that they're on, the land, is very small. Look at this. And it's also very, very close to your neighbor. And I think that's part of the reason. Also, they're ugly on the outside, if you haven't noticed. And I think those reasons are why they were priced lower. And because they were priced lower, it brought in people into the area that didn't have a lot of money and didn't take care of their houses. Like, listen, years ago, I used to deliver pizza. And I would drive through these areas, and I would see fences kind of half toppled over that weren't taken care of. People wouldn't have a front lawn. It was just like dirt because they wore it down and they didn't take care of it and it died. What else would I would see? Cars that were parked on the side of the road with a flat tire that had been there for 4 months. It's just sitting. You know what I mean? Like, all that kind of stuff you see in the ghetto. Trees growing out of the Easterhoffs because they didn't clean it. You know, all that sort of stuff. So it became kind of run down. Now, I don't think it was ever like the crime hub or the drug hub that Ford City or Sandwichtown is. I feel bad mentioning it in the same video as there because I don't think it's the same kind of rough. You know what I mean? You could throw a rock from the Villages and hit $1 million houses. There's $1 million houses here. There's $1 million houses there. There's $1 million houses all around this area. It's a nice area, but this little spot is rough. Also, they don't have a gas line. These houses were built without gas, which means you need to rely on electricity to heat your home. So, back before they invented this handy device, the split unit air conditioner, which is high efficiency, people used to heat their homes with baseboard heating. And the bill in the winter would be like $600 a month. Like, it was crazy because they're not efficient at all. Luckily, these people don't have that problem anymore because they have this, which is very good at heating and cooling your home and is very efficient. Regentrification is a fancy word that means things have changed or starting to change in that area. When housing prices took off in Ontario, it brought different people into this area because it was the only thing that they could afford. You know, people that have good jobs, they're making $80,000 a year, but housing in Windsor's stupid. Housing in Ontario and in Canada's stupid expensive. So they bought here and they renovated and they made it look nice. And so it's a little bit of a different class of people slowly moving into this area. So it's really not as bad as it used to be. However, it's still not the great area that the rest of Windsor is, and it's still, if you tell people I live in the Villages, there's still like not a great area vibe to it. But that's the video, guys. Those are the areas that are the roughest areas in Windsor that you don't really want to be raising a family, save for maybe the last one. All right? Again, check out some of my other videos. They'll give you a better idea of where to live in Windsor. And again, like this video, hit subscribe, help me out. Okay? Awesome. Have a good one.